Hi there, and welcome to Quotely. In this video, we're going to walk you through basics of how to build a quote using Quotely, whether you're brand new or just getting started. We designed this platform specifically for resellers who need to move fast, stay accurate, and ditch the copy-paste chaos that comes with traditional quoting tools. With Quotely, you can import supporting quotes, search real-time pricing, adjust margins, and generate branded templates fast. By the end of this tutorial, you'll be able to create a professional quote in just a few minutes with everything from line items to margin handled smoothly. Let's jump in and show you how it works.
First off, this is the Salesforce version. We have another version that's agnostic to Salesforce and it's completely web-based. But today, I'm going to show you exactly how this works in Salesforce. So it's very much similar. So first and foremost, this component right here is what we call the file upload component. And this allows you to do exactly what it sounds like. It allows you to upload files. So in my case, I'm going to upload a supporting quote, and I have this one that I use a lot. This is our DEA DH Tech F5 quote. This is the quote from Caresoft. It is in a native PDF format. We haven't made any changes to it. If I click over here and take a look at it, you can see it's a PDF. It's addressed, this is really old. This is the reason why I use it. From 2017, it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 line items on it. You notice how the line items are all like misnumbered in here. I use this for a reason so that people see that it can go through this data. So what happens is the moment you drag and drop this, which is this file right here, is it goes into a processing state and it sends it off to our AI API and it goes through and it's trying to figure out, tell me all the line item information, tell me some basic information about the quote itself. So in this case, you see this is the Caresoft quote. This is the distributor figured out. It linked it to a distributor in Salesforce. This is the file name, the expiration date, all the line items, and the total. And it also found that there were shipping costs on here for $250. So I could preview this. This always kind of messes up a little bit in Safari. Looks like it works great. So I can preview this to make sure this all matches up. 218, 203, shipping amount. So the total is 218, 453.70, 208 or 218, 453.70. Perfect. I approve. And really, this is just saying I went ahead and reviewed this data because it is done with AI. It is not always accurate. I'll be the first to tell you that. Now, I will tell you the accuracy in the last 3, 4 years has gone from 95, 98% to we're in the 99.9% accurate. There's a few things that we've been changing in the recent AI models to speed this entire process up. Right now, this takes about 12 seconds on the long run. And we've done a number of things to optimize this. In the early days, about 3 years ago, it took about a minute and a half. So we've really come a long ways. So how do I turn this into a quote? Well, I just check this. Notice how I can't check these other ones? That's because I haven't reviewed them. If I approve them, you can see that I can select both of these and turn it into a quote. Um, I'll just do one for right now, and I'm going to hit generate quote, and it's going to ask me which quote. And these are the record types that are available for the quote that are assigned to me as a user. So if I have a different custom record type that is for some special quote format or has fields that the other ones don't have, or say you're a MSP and you've got quantity and terms like a duration, like I've got quantity 100 users and a quantity of 12 months, allows you to kind of figure all that out. I'm just going to do a standard open market quote. Keep this simple. That way I don't have to train people what the NASA soup functionality works or GSA and things like that. But all those are built in and natively supported. All right. So first thing you see here is I've got a grouping called Untitled, which I can rename. Untitled does not show up on the quote when I generate the PDF. If you rename it, it will show up. And what this allows us to do is kind of do groupings of all these products. Notice the shipping fee came over here. That's great. If I don't want it on here, I can just click and delete, or I could clone this. I could move it. I could add another product. I could create a manual product, or I could do some product search. I can do that on all the line items. But let's just say for a second, I need to put some margin on this. I'm a value-added reseller and get this thing out the door. What do I do? Well, you just click all the lines and say, hey, I'm going to put 10% of margin on this thing, and you're done. That's it. Now, I know well that that's not all there is to it. There's a lot of complex quoting scenarios, especially if you're quoting on Cisco or something like that. So, how do I handle situations like that where I need to set a certain percentage off of list price to my users? Well, I can do that by highlighting the lines that I want, or say I'm searching for certain lines that say SBC in the line number. Well, then I can only see that line, and then I can say, hey, look, this thing really needs to be 0% off a list. Well, let's do 1% off a list. And my price is 1% off a list. So my SVC should show 1% off a list. Now, what if I need to manually change these real quick? I don't want to just blanket have to click, type a number in, and do whatever. Well, you can just do that right here. This is no longer 10, it's 20, and save. And now it's 20%. Um, I can do the same thing over here. If I need this to be 5% off a list, and I hit save, and it's 5% off a list. Really, really easy. Tells you what your effective margin is. The other thing this does is it allows me to add products from our product search capability. I can go ahead and look for a 24-inch monitor, if I can spell. And what you should see is all the product information that is related to a 24-inch monitor. And I'm sorry, we don't need monitor arms, we just need the monitors themselves. And I see all this information in here. And you notice how all the other subcategories popped up because they're like, all right, look, monitors has a whole lot of subcategories. Maybe I need to look on aspect ratio. Maybe I need to see, is it LED, WLED, quantum dot LED? For the sake of my conversation, I'm just going to quickly grab one of these. If I need to see the tech specs, I could click here, show me all of them. The brochures are here. The user manuals are here. It's showing that this would be drop shipped because there's no quantity at TD Synnex at the moment. But here's the price to me, or the list price. Here is the cost. That kind of lets you know, the retail MSRP, and I'm going to import it. And in this case, I couldn't figure out what the manufacturer was. I could link it up in here if I wanted to. I can just leave it undefined for the sake of my demo. But you see right in here that that monitor got added in here right where I clicked it. I clicked add product here, so it added it right below here. If I want to move these, I want the monitor to be up top. I'm just going to move the monitor right here and move. And all my line items reorder. So I wanted to be able to just drag and drop them in here, but this seems to be a little bit easier. Otherwise, the interface goes a little crazy. So, same thing if I want to create a new product or I want to add an existing product, I just click here. If I want to clone that line item, I could do that. Or one thing that's kind of great is I can actually highlight the entire group and clone the group with all the line items. So maybe I wanted to mess around with this a lot and get really granular in my pricing strategy, but I have the old one right here. I could do that. I could do the same thing of, maybe I want to ungroup all these line items and just this group. Maybe I just want to delete this whole thing. I can do that as well. I could delete just individual line items or clone individual line items. You get the idea. Now, the other thing that we have on our quotes is, so this is all the line items of the quote. Well, I have all the products right here. These are the individual products that are on my quote. And here's some of the taxonomy or the schema, some detailed information about it. Now, in our quote admin console, you can define exactly what columns are showing up here from the admin side related to this record type of open market. And so if there's another custom column that you have that's unique, you could add that. You can add any of the ones that are built into our package and any of the ones that are in your organization or your tent without question. So if I had some special field of categories, whether it's, is this a SaaS product? Is it services? Is it hardware? All sorts of information. You can do that all in here and it'll pop in here. And these are all inline editable, right? So if I wanted to get this from someone other than Carahsoft, I could click, and type in TD Synnex and change that, right? Save. Now, Obviously, I'm not going to do that for my scenario, but I could. Notice how this one doesn't have anything in here? Well, I'm going to make this hardware. That's not monitor save. Maybe this is an LG monitor, not undefined. LG Corp. All right. You get the idea. And I also have a tab in here for taxes. Like, are these taxable? Are they not taxable? In the package, we have the capability of looking up the actual address and things like that. But you can also say, like, hey, look, this is all taxable. It's 6.5%. Just say that you happen to know that, and it'll calculate all the taxes, right? It's really straightforward right there. So, and then you see, I've got margin, taxes, costs, total, right? If I have an additional one in here, I can add additional columns of things that are roll up summary values. Really, really straightforward. And then last but not least is just syncing the quote, right? So I'm going to click this. It's going to be a one-time sync saying, hey, this is the quote for this opportunity. And what you'll see is my total margin of 23,000, my total will get synced over to the opportunity margin, my total. Some of these are fields from Salesforce, some of them are custom from Quotely, but you get the idea. So that's kind of quoting in a nutshell. It's really, really simple. The SOUP and GSA stuff is more or less the same. You just have a few more data points that you have to put in, or we will pull them in from our API to make sure that you have some of the detailed information.
And that's it. You just built your first quote in Quotely. It's that simple. With features like AI-powered quote extraction, distributor search, margin controls, and customizable templates, building quotes is no longer an inconvenience. It's your advantage. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out through our website. We're always here to help. Thanks for watching, and keep quoting smarter with Quotely.